apart from each other because we all say we're different from each other when we're not. But that's a whole other conversation, really.
All right, we gotta step into
I'll
we
say
gotta
let's steer the convo back
Back to
to
tech.
what we were.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm so lost. But
Okay.
no, like I feel like you make really good points about like just in terms of like I've always been taught or reared as a kid of like you're gonna have to work twice as hard for half of the opportunities
True.
that are available to you. You're not gonna be able to have a southern drawl in some spaces because they're gonna view you as not intelligent
Mm-hmm.
or like you said not their equal. So yeah, I definitely like level with a lot of what you said in terms of like I get the whole like having integrity in what you build and wanting to help people and wanting to make a change. But it's like, how do you come into contact with people of like minds? Because of course it's not at this point just you doing everything. So like, how do you keep things stable and on the path that you set essentially?
Well, it's well, the way I work, even though I believe in democracy, even though the reality is it doesn't actually work, I do not run a democracy in my company in any shape or form. No, I'm the CEO. I am responsible at the end of the day for everything. It doesn't matter how
Mm-hmm.
many people I have working around me. It doesn't matter if one of these people does something bad. That's on me. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
one of the, and that's how it should be. The days in which our kings and our leaders led from the very front of the battlefield seem to be very much over. And this seems to be the same with our tech CEOs. As soon as they're more than willing to throw loads of money at putting out a product without caring about the effects it can have. And then when the blame
Mm-hmm.
starts rolling in, they're very quick to go, whoa, whoa, oh, it was Jeffrey, wasn't me. There's that whole kind of trying to pull themselves away from that. So in terms of me finding people who are aligned with me, it's been a very long road. As I said, I started this back in 2017, and it's only in past 12, 13 months I managed to do over 400 grand from investors. Prior to that, it was angel investors who were investing far smaller amounts. And these angel investors are all people who are incredibly aligned with me. And that was the key. The key is to start off with a small group of angel investors who are not in it to make a profit. They're in it because they see the vision. They see the same hallucination that you see of a world of parity. You notice I didn't say equality there because it's actually about parity, equity. Equality is a beautiful concept, but it's an insanely dumb concept because it depends on who you set as the benchmark for equality. Do you set the strongest, most intelligent person as the benchmark for equality? Do you set the stupidest person as the benchmark for equality? To be fair, it's probably where we're at in modern society at the moment, to be fair, in terms of what, especially when you see discourse on X to the Z Twitter. But what we really want is parity, which is we have access to exactly the same level of resources, no matter who we are or no matter where we come from. And this is what all of my tech is effectively building towards. All of the tech that I'm building towards ultimately builds towards, I'll give you an example. By 2030, we have in the smart contract for Vox Crypto, we have a piece of code that automatically on midnight, the 5th of November, on 2030, opens up a multi-signature wallet. Now, into that multi-signature wallet, there'll be about 60% of our profits from certain products going into this multi-signature wallet. That wallet effectively will be distributed like universal basic income to all of the users of our platform without having to do onerous KYC or having to stick your eye into a big silver orb so somebody can nick your biometric data. Nothing as crazy as that. No, and the reason we're doing this is because we firmly believe that it's possible to make healthy profits while also giving back to your consumer base that are purchasing your product. This is the reason why I'll give you an example. If you're working for one of my companies, your easiest, probably the happiest person probably will be the cleaner in the office because the cleaner in the office will be on 20 to 40 pounds an hour and will not have any responsibility other than their job. But if you're a management, you better believe you're going to work. I mean, my companies don't operate in the kind of way most other corporations do, where the higher up you get promoted, the less work you do. and the more money you earn. It works the other way. The more higher up you get promoted, the closer you get to this workaholic CEO who doesn't believe in sleeping at night and just keeps on working constantly, because that's how you make the money if you're going to make it, you know? So I would also say that's my other bit of advice for anybody who wants to be a founder. Be prepared to lose a lot of sleep. Yes, be prepared to work round the clock, and be prepared for it to be a thankless job where 90% of the time people are telling you for the first couple of years, oh, this is such a stupid idea. Why are you doing it? Nobody will, blah, 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 blah. And you just have to keep going. Keep going no matter what people tell you, no matter what. You just keep going.
Great points. Great points. You mentioned like a smart contract. So I kind of want to shift this to more of like the foundational conversation we were talking about. Can we start with, I guess, what are the basics for like crypto, blockchain,
Yes.
smart contract?
What is a blockchain? A blockchain, very simply, is blocks of data, but these blocks have a very special capability. Each block contains 3 datums, or 3 pieces of information. One piece of information is the address or the hash key of the block of information before it, and the hash key or address of the block that comes after it. And then, of course, the data that is stored in the block itself. Now, why is this important? This basically means that any information stored in that block cannot be changed without having to change the actual blocks on either side of it, which means if you want a source of information that cannot be tampered with or displays very visibly if it's been tampered with, the blockchain is a perfect use case, is the perfect tool for that use case. Now, you will read in a lot of media that the blockchain and crypto is the world of criminals. If you're a criminal using the blockchain, then you are a idiot, literally, because the blockchain tracks and records everything you do. The blockchain is a non-repudiable record of information. Now, a smart contract is a piece of code that can enact an intelligent function across this blockchain. And by intelligent function, I don't mean some HAL 5000 meet Morpis coming to like develop AI kind of thing. No, it's just intelligent in that it fulfills a specific function autonomously, just like the way a script would do. Now, this has lots of use cases. So, for example, Mercedes have started playing with the idea of making it so that if you buy one of their cars, they can lock certain functions of it unless you buy NFT upgrades that go on your key and then unlock access to certain parts of your car. This is a very bad utility of blockchain. This is an example of rampant consumer capitalism at its worst. A good use of blockchain would be, for example, rewarding users who are, say, engaging in a course of study in which the videos and course content is delivered across the blockchain, and their activity and participation in the course of study is recorded, for which they earn a reward for. Now, that is a good use of blockchain. Now, unfortunately, in the industry around us, especially for the past few years where we had ICOs, we had the ICO bubble, we had the NFT bubble, we now have the, I'm going to call them meme coin bubble. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They have a whole other name. But the meme coin, see, I behaved with the meme coin bubble. All of these bubbles are effectively ways of exploiting really actually what is fairly good, useful utilitarian technology. Another good utility for a blockchain, a perfect use case for the blockchain would be, for example, voting in an election, where having a record of how people have voted and who these people are and where they voted from, stored in a way that cannot be interfered with, would be a perfect use case. Unfortunately, despite this technology being available, there is not one country in the Western Hemisphere that is using this technology for that, funnily enough. I'll allow listeners to come up with their own suspicions as to why this may not be the case. But by all means, if after listening to this, you think to yourself that you would love to have a voting system that cannot be interfered with and would love to learn more about blockchain-based voting system, then write to your senator. I jest you not, right? Write to your local senator and tell them to contact JB Benjamin of Akuma Engineering and hound them until they go out there and contact me, and I will literally roll it out as a prototype, because we're already working on it here in the UK. At the end of the day, it is the only form of voting that members of the public would be able to rely on the validity of, and that could not be interfered with, even by a government. So, you know, this technology is stuff that can actually really help people. Another good utility for blockchain is for storing information concerning your own medical well-being. For example, if you wanted to make sure that only you could collect certain medication, or if you wanted to make sure, for example, that the keys to the encryption keys to your system were split up across a chain, you could actually do that with a blockchain and then have another way of accessing it. Again, these are useful utilities of blockchain. Now, another component of blockchain is, of course, staking and liquidity pools. And this is where the blockchain starts to go into centralized finance or decentralized finance more. It becomes a competitor, actually, to centralized finance. Because with blockchain and cryptocurrencies, you can actually use them in a way that generates more utility and generates more rewards from their staking and pooling as such. Unfortunately, this has led to some, to rampant criminality, rampant scams all over the space. But what I would remind people is that when the internet first came out, wasn't it not filled with rampant criminality and scams? Didn't it take years of the New Zealand police going after Kim.com and stuff like that to try and creating Spam House Europe to deal with the epidemic of spam that was created as part of the emergence of email and the internet? And then the internet got regulated to a certain extent, and it became a platform that was able to work for the majority of us. I mean, hell, I remember there was a time where my neighbor, almost every other person on my street was a website developer making money from building little websites, back in the day. And this is where we are in the crypto Web3 space. We're at that point. We're at the point of pre-regulation where, yes, it is a wild, wild west, but things have changed. In 2024 in the blockchain, we're seeing fewer crypto projects that have no utility, like Bored Apes Yacht Club. We're actually seeing crypto projects with actual utility, like Soul Chat, which is the ability for you to actually have decentralized phone calls without Marbell and anybody else listening to them, wallet to wallet. Now, if I already know your listeners can say, so what's a wallet? And a wallet is basically your identity. It's literally like a wallet that crypto can go to, but it's your way of identifying yourself, which is not even connected to your real world identity, because anybody can create a wallet anywhere on any blockchain, anyhow, without needing a KYC or AML. This is technology that is for everyone, but it requires people to learn it. And as I said, this just brings me back to what I said earlier about how we need to change how we think, because the Web 2 paradigm is where we didn't have to think about this stuff, or at least that's what we were taught. We should have been thinking about it. Now it's too late. We now have the opportunity with Web 3. In fact, it's not an opportunity. You're forced to, with Web 3, to know this stuff, because you are the king and queen of your experience. This is the beauty of this technology. So this is why I do know there's a lot of people out there with resistance to learning about the blockchain. And I would say to them, get over yourselves. This is the future now. It is here. It is too late to do anything about it. Just learn it. It's free to learn. You could make some money that gives you generational wealth.
And so two things about that. One being, like, do you feel like there's a lot of misinformation in terms of like the public awareness of what crypto is? Because I feel like everyone always, like you said, kind of cones it in with it being like criminality or like shady dealings of, a billionaire wants to give someone payoff money, so they'll put some Bitcoin on a cold wallet. Like, it's just weird use cases. And also, like, do you feel like, in terms of where crypto is now, do you feel like people are more accepting to its possibilities? I really feel like people are only interested in because it's another way for them to make money. I don't think there's really any like, oh, I'm trying to use it for like a use case in some other like situation. I feel like it's more of a, how can I make money off of this, is what a lot of people are trying. It's like the new Forex.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. Let's not get it twisted. Most crypto coins in reality are nothing but giant Ponzi pyramid schemes. But if you look at the stock exchange and you look at shares and investment in general, it's actually just a giant Ponzi scheme. There's a reason why even Lloyd's TSB gets terrified at the thought of every single one of their members running on the banking office and pulling their money out at the same time, because the reality is the money isn't there because we all know how it works. You put $100
Mm-hmm.
into the bank, they take 90 of that and go give that to somebody else to play around with as a loan, and then the money keeps moving. The reality is your money has already moved very far over there and is no longer there. And so, unfortunately, crypto's been demonized by that. And a lot of the demonization, unfortunately, has actually come from, if you look at its roots, comes from companies who literally have a vested interest in the rest of us not being part of it. Bear in mind, BlackRock spent the longest time telling us that Bitcoin was the devil while secretly building a huge position on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. I mean, everybody should have realized by now that a lot of this demonization of crypto was being done by the very people that have a vested interest in cryptocurrencies and blockchain not becoming the mainstream in an uncontrolled way, because if it does, it affects their ability to make money and revenue from handling money that's not theirs. There's a reason why, if you think of it like this, the product I made, Vox Crypto, our slogan is Vox Crypto, I am the bank. Vox Messenger, I am the messenger. There's a reason for this. It is literally the thing that Barack Obama stated in one of his speeches he feared the most, which is where people would be walking around with individual banks in their pockets. Yeah, it's here. It's here right now. You can all do it. And it's a little bit scary because, as I said, you're responsible for your own security and making sure you remember what your keys are and not sharing a seed phrase with people. But there is the ability for you to be able to make money from it. Yes, everybody's obsessed with making money from crypto. Why is that? They're obsessed with making money from crypto because crypto is unregulated largely, and it has the capability to be used in a way that normal financial instruments cannot be. For example, it'd be very hard for you to leverage generating financial outcomes out of a proof of work network based on the neural map of a neural network, which is actually an AI itself. That is actually one of the blockchains that's out there. It's called pt2. The whole blockchain is itself an LLM, and you earn money on it by mining it, by acting as a validatory node for this giant LLM brain. These kinds of things are things that can make you money in a very interesting way, actually. This is not just the same as meme coin farming, which the Ward and his wife is doing. And yes, it's making some people very, very rich. Nothing wrong with that. But it is not sustainable. It is a bubble. It bursts. And all of these meme coins are doing nothing other than largely clogging up the platforms. There's a reason why Ethereum became so expensive. Ethereum partly became so expensive because how are gas fees calculated? Gas fees are based on the concept of scarcity, the scarcity of computational power. Now, if you have tons of junk computationally running on a network, it increases the scarcity, which basically means the gas volume goes up. Now, if you track when this happens, you'll notice the fingerprints of some very big banking institutions in the background. And this is the point, and this is the problem. Centralized finance is scared stiff of blockchain, hence why blockchain gets a massive public demonization and smear. But at the same time, centralized finance also realizes it needs blockchain because we are moving to, the world is changing so very differently to how it was. We're moving to a world where borders are increasingly meaningless, actually. We are moving to a world where it doesn't matter what language you speak, you'll have automatic translation in any device. So you'll be able to talk to anyone and everyone, language no longer being a barrier. We also expect our currencies and our finances to match that. The world future is a future where, say, Byron, you have Byron coin, which you and your friends and all of your friends and buddies have, which has a certain value amongst yourselves. But then Shy, you have Shy coin, and all of your friends have that coin, and you go to an exchange, you're actually able then to swap and trade these coins. Now, within your own different groups of people, they would have different commodities and commodity values. But in the future, these would all be able to be tied together with a varying rate, with a kind of centralized cryptocurrency that can actually manage the value differences between them. This is a scary prospect for centralized finance. But can you imagine that? Centralized finance has zero place in that world, actually, because there's no middleman anymore. In fact, the middle person is no one because you guys are actually trading direct at that point. And this is one of the mechanisms, this is the reason why we're actually With Vox Crypto, we're actually going to be adding Vox Crypto to Vox Messenger. Why? Because by coupling your financial transactions in groups with your ability to communicate means there's less ability for people to cheat and con you, because most scams happen at the point of making the deal and enacting the deal. We remove the middleman component completely, so you become the deal maker and the deal processor all in one application.
I'm going to ask a question, but I don't necessarily want you to answer it. But just to put it in mind for people listening, what does it mean for taxes and the IRS?
It's like,
I hope Gislin ain't watching this show. It's not good. It basically makes it incredibly hard. I mean, I'll give you an example. Here in the United Kingdom, they've just passed a law so that it doesn't. They don't care anymore. They've just said if you make £10,000 of if you get £10,000 of crypto, you have to. You just got to go and file a tax return. We don't care. We don't care where it came from. You're just filing a tax return now, and if you don't, we'll find you. And the reason why the British government is saying that is because the Coinbase and all of these big cryptocurrency crypto exchanges are all sitting advising the British government on how to deal with crypto. But at the same time, part of the deal is they're also showing them how to trace crypto.
Okay.
And this is the reason why, this is where applications like mine become a huge threat. Why? Because my app, we're in the process of not just integrating Solana, but we're also in the process of integrating Transact for credit card, debit card, and bank account on-ramping and off-ramping in the app, which means you won't need to use an exchange to top up your wallet, which means them being able to show them how to trace it doesn't matter anymore if you're using my application. Yeah. As I said, I am all about trying to give people the freedom to be their best selves. When we are observed, when we are monitored, when we're spied upon, it creates disastrous emotional and psychological problems for humans. There's a reason why in Guantanamo Bay and other black sites, they use white rooming as a form of torture, which is where they remove all sensory input and they make you feel observed by constantly observing you and informing you of the fact that you're being watched and observed. It dehumanizes you. And this is one of the reasons why I built technology where we don't exploit your personal data. Your personal data is your digital soul at the end of the day. We're not interested in enslaving your digital soul for profit. That is heinous. We thought it'd be it's a lot harder to make money the other way, but it's also a lot more fun, and you can sleep at night. When you do sleep, you can sleep.
oh, quick question. So if I was just, a random user just now getting into this, would you suggest I come onto your platform, Vox, Messenger and Vox Crypto to utilize it? So can you walk me through like that setup, that process of just, getting the application, setting up the accounts or however it goes?
Okay, super simple. First of all, for Vox Messenger, you better be on Android because it's not on iOS, and we're not releasing. No, we cannot release to iOS anytime soon, and I'm going to tell you the reason why.
Okay.
So, in order for you to get your application onto the iOS App Store, you have to give Apple unrestricted access to your GitHub repo of data, your source code. You actually have to give Apple unrestricted access to your source code for them to look at it before your app can go through the review process. Now, this basically means with an application like Vox Messenger, which contains post-quantum encryption, bear in mind, Apple have just announced they're introducing post-quantum encryption to all of their iMessage users. And we would be giving them source code to our algorithms, which have an incredibly good way of moving elliptic curve to post-quantum. That we can't do that. Sorry. So Byron, you other iOS users, I'm really sorry. Again, get onto your senators. You need to go onto your senators, write a letter to them and tell them about how Apple are forcing companies to give up valuable IP to be on their platform. Anti-competitive, very monopolistic, and incredibly dangerous. And it's not some, and given that Vox Messenger is literally the very height of security, we are not doing that just so we can be on iOS. Sorry, Apple, I love you, man, but you ain't that good. So no. So sorry. Get yourself an Android. I mean, that is also, by the way, just from a practical point of view of staying secure in your own life, personal recommendation time, you are better off with Android. It is, and the issues that you used to have on Android, people used to claim you don't have on Apple, you have now. there are viruses on Apple which are already hacking and co-opting biometric data so they can hack your bank accounts that you think are safe because you used biometrics and LiDAR. No, it's not, because hackers know how to hack that on Apple. There are apps out there which actively do it. And somehow the app ended up on the App Store, even though Apple had this incredibly draconian way of going through things. So strange. But I digress. If you want to get Vox Messenger, get yourself an Android, visit the Google Play Store or press the Play Store button on that beautiful Samsung. Yeah, I'm recommending the Samsung Galaxy because it's just an awesome phone. No, I don't get anything from Samsung. See, Samsung, come talk to me about your post-quantum chip. Got to dance. It's just a good phone. I use it. I use them all the time when I upgrade. The reason being is it just works. And I'm what you call a pro phone user, in as much as that I use it as much as I use my computer. So that's the reason why I need a device that's actually going to work all my applications and do everything without making me feel, like having to pay for stuff every 5 minutes, which is basically what you do with Apple. Go into the Google Play Store, download type in Vox Messenger. It will come up straight away. You cannot miss it. It's a big red background that looks like a shield with a big V that looks like something out of V for Vendetta all over it. It's beautiful. Now, for Vox Crypto, we are coming out on iOS, and we are currently in review process for that. Why? Because it's a smart contract. Nothing proprietary there, buddy. You can visit you can visit Etherscan and read the smart contract, and we've audited it and published it. So there's no issue publishing on iOS for that. So yes, Byron, Vox Crypto is coming out on the App Store. And again, the same thing. You just either visit the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and just type in Vox Crypto, and it's there. And yes, Vox Crypto is already out on Android because it's just a lot easier to. You can also find me on Vox Alive. If you want to learn more information about all of this stuff, even though I work crazy hours and I'm always in meetings with tech or investors and stuff like that, I am also available. I'm a very approachable, available person. I also firmly believe that as a tech CEO, I must be open to being questioned about what I'm doing, about the ethics and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I make myself available on Vox Alive, which is basically because I hate Facebook and will not have my data exploited. I went off and built my own Facebook that has no ads and gives you the ability for you to create AI-generated content, which you can then monetize and sell to your friends and family on the platform. That's already available. You just visit vox-alive.xyz or type Vox Alive into Google search, and you'll find us. And I'm there. And if you say I heard about me on this show, I will upgrade your package to premium, and you can just do your video chatting, whatever.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we'll make sure to, put all those links in the show notes again, because one thing that I was wondering, just like, how can people access the platforms, and like, what do you do once you get on there? It's like, you gotta.
Oh, it's super easy. So with Vox Messenger on Android, you install it, you type in your phone number, and that's it. You're in and registered. Simple as that. Very, very simple. Then you can click settings and go through all of our security features, but we set everything to the maximum of security by default. So for example, screenshot protection is enabled by default, so people can't take screenshots of your conversation without your permission. We also have optional content encryption enabled, so by default everything's encrypted. If you wanted it to be quicker, you can actually, or you didn't worry about certain things, you go, cool, I'm not going to encrypt this, and then you can send bigger files quicker, whatever. We also have the secure video calling, which is in there as well. But again, the key is you just type in your phone number and it's done. Now with Vox Crypto, pretty much the same thing. When you download and install the app, you can create a brand new wallet. You create a password for it. You do this seed phrase thing, and you're done. That's it. I am a firm believer in keeping everything as simple as possible. Vox Alive, you can either register using your Google account or your Facebook account or your Twitter account or your email. And again, super easy, just in and you're good to go. Ease of use. That's what it's about, not making people jump through hoops for stuff,
So I know you talk about in one of your articles about like different wallets and the threats of having like web-based wallets like MetaMask or other wallets. I personally have MetaMask.
Same here.
So I didn't know that it was I mean, I know that there are web threats and cyber threats because I actually looked, for example. I didn't know my seed phrase, or I'd forgotten my seed phrase. and I was trying to put my MetaMask on my MacBook, but I only had it on my phone. So I was like, I have all this crypto in my wallet, but if I ever lose this phone, that's it. So, but I've now recovered it. And when I went to, there was a tab for NFTs, and I do have some NFTs, but there was a tab for hidden NFTs. And when I
Oh,
opened the
gotcha.
tab, there's just this like huge list of just different attempts of people trying to like access my wallet that I was never aware of. And they're all logged, and they all have like proprietary like details for their wallet or whatever.
It'll say something like, get 2,000 Ethereum for free.
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, uh-huh, no, 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 no,
And
no.
but the crazy thing is I never got a notification saying like, hey, would you like to accept this? So it just was denied, I guess.
Well, no, it's not that it's just this denied. What actually is happening in all of these wallets is that you have if you tap the little 3-button burger bar beside the NFT, you have the option for something called block and report as junk or report as spam. So by the time it's got to you, probably loads of people have reported it as spam, and then the rest of the algorithm that's operating on MetaMask and Trust Wallet will then automatically flag it across the different blockchains as spam, and it gets picked up and automatically shoved into hidden collections.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good feature, actually. I mean, everybody is improving what they're doing at the end of the day, but also a lot of these people also have investors and big VCs who will say to them things like, well, you've got a user base now. You've got to monetize them. You still got to start using ads. And you start seeing ads creeping into places. And it happens everywhere, I'm afraid. But this is the thing with tech that I built. We have made it part of our company charter not to do ads. There's a reason why it's taken me this time to get the investors I have, because I've been into investor meetings. I've come close to the plate so many times. But one of the big sticking points is I just won't do ads. Sorry, I'm not even going to lie about doing ads to attract an investor and then just turn around and take the money off of them and then
to not do ads.
Not doing ads, because you can't be doing stuff like that. I mean, it starts to build you a bad rep. You end up with a bad rep like Moxie. I mean, for crying out, Moxie created Signal with money he stole from Yahoo, for crying out loud. So there's a reason why people won't work with you after a while if you keep doing stuff like that. I won't operate that way. I'd much rather have things take longer, slower, and just cook. Just cook that perfect, that perfect jerk chicken, just the way it's got to do. Slow roast. That's how I run my business. Slow roast that thing.
Oh my goodness.
um,
Well, I really don't have a whole lot more. I know we kind of like went to a bunch of different topics, but somehow you hit all the points on the head without us having to really ask. And I know you said you'd actually be open to follow-ups. I would be interested in doing a follow-up, gearing more towards like, okay, people are interested in crypto. How do they protect themselves, even if they don't go with, a Vox wallet?
No, even if you don't go with me, there are certain key things to always look out for, certain red flags to look out for in any project. So before you invest in any crypto project, DYOR, do your own research. Go into the community, join the discords, be quiet, sit there, be silent like a submarine, but listen to how people watch how people behave with each other. Because one of the things I would say, particularly in the crypto space, is start to learn behavioral psychology, because that is what will be used to manipulate you and get money out of you in these big projects at the end of the day. There's lots of reports. I've been in loads of projects where somebody will raise a comment like, okay, cool. So who's in charge of what wallet? And this will lead to people being called FUD artists and being leapt on, and they'll be crushed out of the community, be a very vociferous, vicious core management group. If you spot that, it's a scam run. Because the reality is that there is no reason that any group of founders or management team should become offended if you're asking questions. And this is also another thing. If you're looking at a project and you're seriously interested, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit irritating. Ask a question until you get it answered. And the way those people treat you is kind of an example of how you're going to be treated through the rest of the project. So and I say this to people all the time, the amount of times I've seen projects where, hell, I mean, even I've stayed longer than I should do. If I just looked at that person's behavior and gone, Even on a good day, that does not seem right, actually. You know, there's these,
Hmm.
and in the crypto space, so many of us are willing to accept it. I've never been in a space in existence where people will throw millions at founders, and I mean literally millions in some cases at founders, and then be okay on the day of reveal with the founder going, oh, you know what, guys, we've got some technical problems. It's going to be about another 3 weeks for reveal. You couldn't do that in the enterprise world. You know, you couldn't, unless you're a government contractor, which is about the only place you can get away with stuff like that. You could not get away with turning around to your shareholders and your consumers and going, you know how you just gave us all that money? Well, the product wasn't ready when we sold it to you. But if you bear with us, we're getting it ready. It's definitely going to be ready. That's almost all crypto projects. If the project is running like that, run for the hills. I don't care how good the artwork is. I don't care how promising the concept of an AI that does automatic trading for you, that's going to make you a lifetime of generational wealth, but you can't have it now. I don't care. If anything triggers you, oh, and this is another piece of advice for people in the crypto space, trust your gut, because your gut is always right. If your gut is telling you, this does not sit right with me, you're probably right, actually. Because almost all the time, you'll be told in the crypto space, don't trust your gut. Oh, you just, no, you're just paying too much attention to the FUD that's flying around. Trust, it's going to be okay. Or the other classic one, oh, you've not been here long enough. You don't understand how the crypto works. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay. They're cooking. You got to understand they're cooking. No, you're just being continually delusional and hoping that this poor sucker will come put their money into your bags so you can exit. I mean, this is the other thing to look out for in the crypto space, by the way. If you see a project which does seem a bit rinky, but there is lots of people being super friendly with you all of a sudden, the chances are they could be trying to offload their bag on you. Okay, so like if you join a community and all of a sudden you get descended on by people who go, oh my God, this project's amazing. By the way, if you want to get into this project, I got this whole wallet here you can have for like pennies on the dollar. I'm just saying it's a great project, but just to get you in, have my entire wallet. Yeah, big warning sign. It means they're out to jump ship and you are their exit liquidity. So key red flags. Look at how to summate that into some one-liners. One, watch and assess founder behavior and consistency over time. Two, look out for outlandish promises. There is no such thing as get rich quick, ever. So if it seems like that, trust me, it's not. Three, if they claim to have lots of big partnership names that you recognize, actually go to that partnership company and check if they are also aware that they have a partnership with this crypto platform that is claiming they have a partnership with them. Because the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, 90% of the projects that you see out there, you see all these lovely logos, they don't go anywhere when you click them. And if you actually contacted the company, the chances are they have never heard of them in a million years. So the more partnerships that you see that lead nowhere and don't have a clickable link, the more concerned and more willing to walk away you should be. Another red flag to look out for is if the project is perpetually in a state of development with no movement. So what does that mean? That means, I'll give you an example. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Lots of projects out there will get to a certain point, they're ready to launch, and because the founders spot that the market takes a dip and they would possibly not quite make as much money as they thought they were going to make, they will delay the entire mint and project, saying, we just got to find like more like favorable market conditions, which basically means he just wasn't going to make as much money as he thought. He wasn't going to rug out as easily as they thought. If that happens, again, exit your stuff out of there, get out, because you ain't ever going to receive anything, is basically what they're saying. Also, check the history of the founders and management team. And I mean go deep, by the way. Don't just look at the team page on the website. It looks amazing. It has so much detail, loads of buzzwords. Actually track these people's LinkedIn profiles. Then, when you've tracked down their LinkedIn profile, check if they exist anywhere else. 60% of them don't. They just have a LinkedIn profile that links to a whole bunch of companies that never existed, or just seems to link to each other. You know, if they have a LinkedIn profile, but they're not anywhere on Twitter, they're not anywhere on Facebook or anything else like that, and there does not appear to be a legitimate narrative for why this person isn't, then again, I would say red flag. Because the reality is, almost all of us have some form of social imprint, unless we have a serious reason not to, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, there are some kinds of projects where that kind of shadiness would actually be an asset to the project because it creates FOMO, it creates a character, a kind of, ooh. But if there's not a narrative that seems sensible, then actually it doesn't fit, and it's a fake out. Also, be aware of any project where they claim that you have to get other people on board to make the project work. It is called a pyramid scheme, ladies and gentlemen. It's called a Ponzi. I actually had this situation today where a good friend of mine told me, I want you to look at this crypto project. It seems amazing. Oh my God, they've got this thing called gold splits. It's so cool. And he got this guy in to talk to me. And I was like, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Let's hear it out. It only took me 5 minutes to actually see that this thing is a giant Ponzi scheme. It is called the Ultima token, and it is something you must avoid. It is on Binance, it is on BNB, and it's on Litecoin. And it claims that it's going to make you 25 whatever's a day, and you're not going to realize your wealth now. You best hold it because it's in 2028 that you're going to get the big payday. You see. And the guy got very defensive with me. And I kind of like, okay, I'm out of this call, man. I don't get spoken to like that. And then he apologized.
Yeah.
He then admitted, look, I got 2.5 grand in there. So I kind of got defensive when you showed me all this stuff. And I was like, why didn't I see it myself? This is the thing. A lot of the crypto projects will psychologically play on our fear of being found to be stupid. You know what I mean? Because we have this a lot of us have this ego thing in us where if we don't know something, it makes us feel stupid, and we just don't like that we don't like that product because we have precious egos, and we've been kind of trained like that. And this gets exploited a lot in the crypto space because it kind of gets used against you. Where if you don't know, well, who are you? Oh my God, are you some kind of a noob? And people get shamed into not admitting their ignorance, and therefore keep making some hugely bad decisions. And I mean hugely bad. Last year, bear in mind, last year and the year before last was the years of the FTX and Terra Luna crashes. You know, I was doing crypto shows and speaking to people who'd been interviewing people just before they committed suicide because of the vast amounts of money they lost on Terra Luna. Why? Because they believed a snake oil salesman, Duquan, who was selling them this promise of getting themselves out of poverty, of getting themselves out of the dirt with this, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Just put everything into it, stake it, it's going to increase. We can't exactly tell you how it's going to increase, but it's going to increase. And because everybody is so desperately poor in the countries they targeted, they were willing to believe it. You know, they were willing to give up everything for this shot at what they thought was freedom. And this is what gets manipulated a lot. Also, be very aware of projects where people approach you. Oh, actually, I'll give you an even better number one tip for the crypto space. Never accept direct messages. There's a reason for this. Because if you're in a crypto project, you'll quite often find you'll get people DMing you going, oh, hi, how's it going? I'm so-and-so from technical support of the project. If you give me your seed phrase, I can help you with anything to do with your wallet. They're not really from customer support because there's no such thing as customer support in crypto. They're using a fake account to get the keys to your wallet so they can empty your wallet. Or they can gain access to your Discord account so they can empty some other people's wallets. So I'll give you an example. If you want to test this, if somebody approaches you saying that they're the founder of an amazing project, then question them in the public space. If they refuse to be questioned in the public space, it basically means they do not want there to be evidence of that discussion, and it means they're a scam. Block, run is basically the advice there. You know, with these tips, these very simple common sense tips, you will actually manage to save your money, you know, as opposed to lose it.
All right, so we're getting pretty actually at the top of the hour, basically. So I want to make sure that let's get like 3 tips. Sum it up, 3 tips how you got to where you are, how others can get there. Let me get that, and then we'll get your quote.
Okay, 3 tips to get where I am. Be your authentic self, never compromise, and believe in yourself 100% no matter what anybody else tells you.
Alright. So what is like a motivational quote that's like carried you through, helped you stay consistent on those late night journeys that you be on?
Okay, so I very early programmed myself to be a person that gets over personal resistance. So I became a massive Aaliyah's Try Again song became like my personal kind of like motif. It became my personal thing. And I used to listen to it obsessively. And yeah, I know it's about a boyfriend, a boy trying it on with a girl again. But I took it as it doesn't matter how many times you trip and fall, no matter how many times you embarrass yourself and make yourself look like a dumbass, you pick yourself up and get up again. So I would quote, I kind of do quote a little bit of Aaliyah to myself. I quote a little bit of Nike, just do it. But my favorite quote has to be from Batman Begins, which is, why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves back up again. Because that's exactly what, anytime I fall, I just get back up again. That's all you can do at the end of the day, because nobody else is going to pick you up. You pick yourself up and you get up and you be strong. You just be better than you were before you fell down.
All right, so thank you for coming on to the podcast. We'll make sure to, again, everybody check the show notes for all the links. We'll make sure that you guys get connected with him. You know, he said he's open to talk. Question him, like he said. Question
You
him.
can ask me anything, literally, except what my seed phrase is, because I ain't going to answer that.
Thanks for tuning into this episode. Catch
But
part
yeah, thank
two
you guys for
next
tuning
week
in
to gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast while you at it.